Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Had my volume up way too high on that one. Jamming earlier. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built to educate. We are here to educate the females of the world. Today, I am speaking with two amazing women named Anitra and Jan. Okay, they are here today to talk about a community that helps over 10,000 women every year, a community that I wish I would have known existed when I was 20 and pregnant with no husband. Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies is located in South Florida, and we are here to talk about the benefits of linking up with this community or a community like this in your area and what is available for mothers out there struggling. Welcome, Anitra, and welcome, Jane. How are you guys today?
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
We made it.
Yes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit of time. I so appreciate you both to come on and share a little bit about what you guys do and what your community does. As I kind of stated in the intro, this is near and dear to my heart. I just got a little teary-eyed right before we came on, just talking to these two, because that was my story. My story was 20, and because of religious beliefs, my entire family disowned me. My entire religion and all of my friends disowned me. And I was by myself. I was all by myself, and I didn't know where to go or where to turn. And I struggled so much eating beans and rice forever, and eviction notices on my apartment door, and my car getting repoed out of the parking lot. It was a very traumatic time in my life, early motherhood. And I'm so excited to have you both here to share that there's a different way of doing it. There's a community there to help mentally. I mean, who knows what kind of postpartum I was going through. I did feel like throwing my baby in the garbage all the time. So I'm excited to have you guys both here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us. And, I think, Sabrina, something that you're talking about too, those intrusive thoughts that women can go through, that's something that is actually fairly common. And we'll talk a little bit more about our services today. But, for women who are experiencing those intrusive thoughts, particularly in the postpartum period, it's okay to reach out for help, and that's part of why Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies exists, is that we're here to be a resource for those pregnant women and for those women who are in the postpartum period that might need some of that emotional support.
Awesome. So the first thing I'd like to do before we get started is just kind of have you both introduce yourselves. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. So good morning, everyone. My name is Jan Bogie, and I am a licensed mental health counselor here in Florida. I didn't start out here. I actually grew up just outside Chicago and went to graduate school in Pennsylvania, but have landed here in Florida. And most of my background is in maternal mental health and also in infant mental health. And I work at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies as their clinical director, and have been with this agency for about 5 years, but have been doing maternal mental health and infant mental health really for the last 15 years or so.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Anitra Moss, and I am the Director of Outreach Education at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. A little bit about me is I am a Floridian. I was born right here in Palm Beach County, born and raised, went to local high schools, left for my college and went to school in Alabama, came back, received my master's here at PBA in mental health counseling. I've been with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. I was thinking about it, as Jan just said it, March will be my 9-year anniversary at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. So that's great when you feel you're working at an agency and you don't even feel like it's been that many years, because we actually love what we do. We love serving the community. And I have the pleasure and the blessing of doing that every day, connecting with the community in different levels. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, yes. And then I know it's in South Florida, but where in what county?
Yeah, so we serve primarily Palm Beach County. We have 2 physical offices. One is in Green Acres and the other one is in Belle Glade. And then part of what we do also is we do also have a mobile pantry that kind of goes out into the community, into some other areas as well. But our main sort of sites, if you will, are in Green Acres and in Belle Glade.
Very cool.
Just want to add, but that just because our site is there, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, we cover all of Palm Beach County. So if you live in Palm Beach County, you are eligible to receive our services. You just have to be pregnant and a resident of Palm Beach County to receive our services.
Awesome. Very cool. So the first thing I'd like to do, obviously, after the introduction is kind of notate well, you actually just kind of said it, Anitra. Who you have to be pregnant and live in Palm Beach County. But I guess that answers that question. Who's the podcast for? It's for individuals who are pregnant. What about daddies? Are daddies allowed to come?
Correct. So our services are for pregnant in Palm Beach County, but our information is for everyone. So we want everyone in Palm Beach County to know about Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies and the services we provide. So some people think, oh, just because I'm not having children anymore, or I'm not in childbearing years, I really don't need to know about that service. But as we were talking earlier, Sabrina, that we're a community. So even you might be a community of your family, you might be a community of your friends. So you might have friends that are in childbearing in years and going through some of the things that you shared earlier. And we want you to know about Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, so you can share the services that we have. Just because you might not be pregnant or you're done with children, we want you to be an advocate for us in our agency and our services.
And we do have several programs also that will target in the postpartum period. So, we do have support groups where we encourage women with babies up to 2 years old to come join a support group if they need help. And dads are obviously always welcome to attend those as well. Or, the other caregivers that are involved in that mom's life. So a lot of times it's her own mother. She's welcome to come to support groups. And also for, like Anitra's talking about, the women who maybe they're in between pregnancies, they can reach out to us as well. We have support services, we have classes, we have education, things that women who aren't necessarily just pregnant can benefit from.
Beautiful.
And we reach the dads. We want the dads to know about us as well. So we go to the barbershops, or we go wherever dads are, and we educate about Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Because I think that, at least for me, I'm not trying to project this on anybody else, but I kind of had a viewpoint that places like this are for single moms without a dad. Like, how dare you ask for help when there is, when I first got pregnant, his father was still fairly active for probably the first 3 months of my pregnancy before everything kind of went haywire. And then there's just kind of like, still struggling in those 3 months, mentally, emotionally, financially. However, I don't know what I was exactly thinking back then, but I am thinking that, there are women who are single without any assistance from a dad or from the father. So a place like that wouldn't be appropriate for me to visit. So I so appreciate you mentioning, like, hey, doesn't matter. Moms, dads, both together. You're welcome to step on in and see what you guys have to offer. Because I think there's just a misconception. I think that we just don't know.
Yeah, I think that sometimes also it's easy to say, like, oh, that place looks like something that's only for a certain sector or a certain population. Whereas, for services with us, none of that really applies. We can help women who, are of all different backgrounds, all different SES, all different cities, if you will. Palm Beach County residency is required, but you don't have to be in a certain struggle or in a certain way in order for us to assist, or in order for us to jump in and assess what we can do to make things easier.
Yeah. Why do you think I never knew about a community like this in my area? Where do you think, or where do you see that there's a disconnect?
Well, you kind of said it in the beginning when you were saying that you thought you had to have the father, you couldn't go because the father was in the life of the child. So that's one of the things that we want to make sure that the community understands, and we're very grateful for platforms like this to be able to get the message out. Like Jan said, we are here to serve you. Our primary goal is to make sure that you go to the doctor early. What is early? Within your first trimester. We want to make sure that you go to the doctor consistently throughout your pregnancy. So that means all during your pregnancy, we want to make sure that you keep your doctor's appointment. So if you're having trouble with your provider, or you're having trouble with insurance, or you're having trouble finding a way to pay for that care, we have services that'll help you, to assist you to get that. One of the things that we definitely want to make sure that we highlight on is that we know toxic stress, and we know the stress of just life happens while you're pregnant. And so we want moms to understand, and families, that mom is carrying that baby. So we try to, at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, think of those barriers, how we can eliminate those barriers so that the mom have a healthy baby. So the disconnect sometimes is coming in, just like you just said, oh, I thought I had the father, or I thought just because I was living in a certain area, I wasn't eligible to these services. So that's why we keep it simple. And we just say, if you're pregnant and you're a resident in Palm Beach County, come in and talk to us and let us tell you what you're eligible for.
Beautiful, beautiful. That makes it simple. That makes it simple.
And I think too, the real sort of special thing about Palm Beach County in particular, in terms of like reaching women who maybe potentially are isolated, or not out in the community as much as others, is that we have a healthy beginning system here in Palm Beach County, which is funded by the Children's Services Council. And as part of that, it's really a passion. It's a centralized way where we are helping women who are pregnant, and we're helping children birth to 5. That's what our system really serves. And so as part of that, we can really work within that to get these women sort of, what they need. We want them to be well, and to not be afraid to get the help that they may need, or maybe they don't need, but just a conversation is enough,
Exactly.
So whatever it is that they need, we want to be able to provide that.
Exactly. And I go ahead, Anitra.
I'm glad that Jan said conversation, because in the community, I work a lot with the community, and that's what myself and my team use a lot, is say, come in and have a conversation with us. So we try not to use the words like intake and different things like that, because actually that's what our staff does. We have an amazing staff at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, where you sit down and you actually do have a conversation with them, and you're able to be vulnerable with them and tell them what's going on. And then, like Jan said, we have a great system of care here in Palm Beach County called the Healthy Beginning System. And then they connect you with those services that you might be eligible for.
100%. What sort of things does Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies actually provide? Can you tell us like what they actually?
Yeah, what might be helpful here, Sabrina, is if you could bring up the slides. There's sort of like a list. I think it's the next PowerPoint. Yeah. So you can see we have several different programs. And one of the most interesting and unique things about Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies is that we're always sort of evolving to address the needs, right, that we see. But one of our primary ways that we really are able to help so many women a year, as you mentioned, we do have a touch point with about 10,000 women a year, is through our prenatal screening program. And so what that is in the state of Florida, there's something called Healthy Start. And as part of being a Healthy Start provider, you can offer what's called the prenatal risk screen. So for those of you who are listening, you may have gone to your OB the first time, and you may have filled out a brief little questionnaire that asks some pretty personal questions. And it was really trying to get at what types of services do you need? In Palm Beach County, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies actually receives all of those. So we reach out to all the women who consent for us to reach out to them. And that's our prenatal screening program. And these are women who are especially trained to talk to people about the results of that. You know, hey, here's what your risk score was. Here's what we can offer to you. And so that's sort of like our main way that we're able to really interact with so many different women.
Very
Yes.
cool.
So we also have outreach education. So that's one of the things that we do. We go out in the community and we connect and we create a physical presence in the community. And we really target those areas where statistically there are high risk for poor birth outcomes. So we have zip codes that are identified within the community that we pretty much target to make sure to get our message out of Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies and all the available services to the community. And we also look for creative ways to do that. So it might look like we might have a tea, or we might, set up a spot at a local supermarket, or we connect with those community stakeholders within those different zip codes that the community trusts, that they could say, oh, you can trust this agency. And then we also provide referrals to Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies from the community, from those women that we link in within the community. So that's one of the entryways that you can come in if you don't come in through the prenatal screening program. Our outreach educator can refer you to our services. We also have our community liaison. Like we said, we really try to get the message out, but they are strategically targeting all the OBs in Palm Beach County. We work with around 200 OBs in Palm Beach County. So they go out, work with all the obstetricians. They train them on the Healthy Start that Jan was talking about. So they train them on the prenatal risk screen. They really encourage them to work with their clients to consent to the prenatal risk screen. Like Jan said, we get that only if the mom consents. So it's very important that the mom hit that box, that check that yes, that she wants to at least hear about the services at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies.
And then sort of like from those risk screens, if a woman says, yeah, I want to come in, I want to talk further, then they would be scheduled with the fourth program you see here, our prenatal care coordination team. And these are just fabulous, fabulous coordinators who know everything about everything. And that woman would meet with the prenatal care coordinator for a one-on-one appointment. It's her choice if she wants a partner to be involved in that. And this is where we do a little bit further in depth. So, this is where we're screening for things like trauma, where we're screening for things like depression, where we're screening for things like basic needs and, what's going on in the pregnancy and what we can do to really connect these women. And from there, we may refer them on to one of those Healthy Beginnings programs, such as, an educational component like a nurse or Healthy Families. We also have a trauma-based program called Child First. We also have traditional counseling. So, we can, that our prenatal care coordination team, they're the ones who are going to do sort of that one-on-one with the mom and be getting a little bit more information.
That's awesome. When hearing both of you guys speak about this, I am realizing that possibly there is a misstep also because people aren't used to getting things for free. So it almost sounds like, listening to all this stuff, it's like, how is that even free? And being so young, a lot of this stuff is coming from people who are young and just naive. There could be possibly even just a hesitation because they're afraid that it is going to cost something and they have no money,
Yes. You're absolutely correct, Sabrina. It's easy to hear, wow, all those services, and think, I wonder what that costs, or to just immediately sort of filter themselves out, like, oh, I could never afford that. But yeah, all of the services that we're talking about today, totally free, completely free of charge.
And the benefit, the reason why it's free, like Jan talked about, was Children's Services Council. So Palm Beach County, they really, really want to invest in, like Jan said, that critical age of, birth to 5. So we have a special tax here that the Palm Beach County residents voted yes to say we want a percentage of our taxes to go to the Children's Services Council so that we can provide services like this, so that our children are born healthy, they're born safe, they're born strong. So that's the reason why we can say that these services are at no cost to you.
Wow.
We really want to say that they're no cost to you because they are no cost to you, but the Palm Beach County residents are actually investing in the children of Palm Beach County.
Wow. Wow. I love that you're putting it that way, because that is actually what it is. Wow, that actually kind of warmed my heart. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, because the money does come from somewhere.
Right. And we're also very blessed to have the support of lots of grants and foundations as well to support some other programming. So, we're pretty blessed in a sense in order to be able to offer these services free of cost. And the one of the programs listed here, the Centering Pregnancy Program, I always say, I wish I had known about this when I was pregnant, because I would have signed myself up. So Centering Pregnancy is actually an evidence-based group prenatal care program. So this is where women who are due at about the same time, they all are in a group together, and they go through sort of like that traditional OB schedule throughout the pregnancy, and then the 6-week checkup. They go together to a group, and they learn how to do things on their own. They learn how to do their own, urine test. They learn how to do their own blood pressure, and they get a 2-hour session at each of these appointments with one of our health facilitators who's specially trained again to be providing this service. And then their OB provider is there too. So this is very different than your traditional OB, where you might go see your doctor for 5 minutes and then you're out the door, right? This is where you're really learning about your body. You're learning about your fetal development. You're learning about your pregnancy. And then you, of course, get the added bonus of you have other women who are going through it at the same time as you. I know that when I was pregnant, I had, some really odd questions about well, what is going to happen if I truly eat this deli meat with nitrites, right? Like these are the things that sort of come up. You may not always get time to ask your doctor, but in a setting like this, you may be able to. And then when, something you were saying earlier, Sabrina, about, being young, so one of our programs, this CAPS and Cribs Teen Mom Mentoring Program, this is a program that we have that is truly designed for our teen moms who are enrolled in a Palm Beach County school. They get matched with a mentor who sees them and helps them through their pregnancy, whether they're pregnant or they're parenting, can go to their school, can speak with them on the phone, whatever it looks like for that match, and sticks with this mom until she graduates from high school, because we want our young moms to be able to be successful as well. So that's, just a little bit more about
how would somebody, we have quite a few people here listening live right now who may or may not need this program, but maybe are listening for somebody else. How would somebody sign up to be a mentor?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. So they can go on our website. There's actually on programs, if they go to Caps and Cribs, they'll see the mentor application listed there. And they'll also see the names of our 2 coordinators, Sam Alvarez and Jennifer Silliman, and they can directly email or call them. Jen and Sam offer mentor training a few times a year for those women who are interested in helping out.
Awesome. Thank you for that. What would you say are, let's just say, the first 3 steps that you recommend for women to take in, early motherhood?
Yeah. So the kind of what Anitra was saying earlier, one of our main sort of goals is get prenatal care early. Early and consistent prenatal care is everything, right? So we would say if you're in that early motherhood pregnancy stage and you haven't gone to the doctor yet, you're not sure what to do, get to the doctor, get everything checked out, get there and get your prenatal care. And if you're not sure how to do that or how to access that, or you have issues with a payer source, call us. Let us help you with that. So I would say that's definitely the first step, is the early and prenatal care. And then, my perspective on this, and again, I work in mental health, is it's not just postpartum, right? Like a lot of women think about their own mental health and they may be struggling and they're like, well, I know it's not postpartum because I'm only 16 weeks pregnant. Well, that's not true. Actually, postpartum is an umbrella term that really covers mental health disorders that can start at conception and last through the baby's first year of life. So remember, address your mental health early. The social and emotional wellness piece of your pregnancy and your health is crucial to the health and well-being of your family and your children and your relationships. So that would be my second step, is like, if you're not feeling like yourself, if you're having intrusive thoughts, if you're feeling down or depressed, reach out, even if it's not to a traditional counseling agency. Can you reach out to someone in your friend group, in your family group, at a faith-based organization, anything like that? And if you have limited support, call us, because we do have support groups where we can connect you with other women. And I think that I kind of said it earlier, but the third step would be stay connected to people, right? Like, we're kind of living in a world where it's easy to get isolated right now. So as much as you can, one of the hardest things I think in motherhood is it's easy to get isolated. It's easy to stay focused on just your baby, or just, how you're doing or what's going on in your world. But it's important for you to have a life outside of that as well, to really keep yourself healthy. And I have to mention here too, in terms of like our programming, we have a Circle of Moms program. That's what it's called, where we run these groups in English and in Spanish, and women can drop in. They can try it out. If they want to come and they don't like it and they don't want to return, that's okay. We hardly ever find that, though. Usually what happens is women come and they hear other women going through, the similar things, whether it's partner issues, or they're scared of delivery, or they don't know what's going on, or they want to anticipate what's going to happen after birth. We have women in these groups who are both pregnant and parenting, that can really be there for them. And we also offer, for those moms who, I get really passionate and talk a lot, so feel free to pause me at any point.
That's fine, we're listening.
So the other thing to keep in mind too, when we're talking about perinatal women, is we know that some moms do experience a loss, right? The loss in pregnancy, the loss after a baby is born. And we also offer groups for that. They're called Share Pregnancy and Infant Loss groups. And 1 in 4 women will experience a loss. And this is a group that typically will blame, they will isolate, they will feel guilty, they will feel jealous of their, friends who are childbearing and things like that. Call us, let us help you, and get into one of these groups where you can connect with other people who've been through those experiences, because we want you to stay well. And we believe that with help, anyone can be well. I'm going on.
Are these done virtually, those baby loss? Are those done virtually or in person?
Yeah, right now they're virtual. And that's mostly out of still some COVID precaution. But we used to offer them in person and do plan to do so probably this year. But right now our support groups are virtual.
Okay. Is this, so I don't know how this is run. I'm myself I'm sober, 15 years. I'm big in the sobriety community. I do coaching around sobriety and time management. And then I also am a recovering codependent. So I also do go to codependency meetings. So how does this work as far as these meetings go? Is it similar? Is it way different? Is there a speaker? What can they expect?
Sure. So in these groups, the first thing they can expect is they would go on our website and find a date and a time that works for them. That would be sort of like the first thing that they could do. Once they register, they'll be invited to the group. And at the group, what will happen for the pregnancy and infant loss groups is we will sort of start with just kind of sharing what, why did you come, and sort of like what's happened to you and how you're doing. Some women like to talk about what they've already tried, because of course, when we're trying to get well, we may have tried several different things. And Sabrina, you probably see that in the groups that you're talking about. And we talk about, what worked for them in that and maybe what didn't work. And then we also do provide some psychoeducation too, just regarding the grief process and bereavement, and letting women know that it's not a linear process, that, grief can hit us differently at different points in our lives, right? So that's kind of the flavor of it. We usually do end the groups by talking about just like coping skills and connecting, right? So if some women want to stay in touch, you know, now they've met someone else who's gone through this experience and they can reach out to that person outside of the group, you know, of course we encourage that as well.
Very cool. And then even though this is virtual, it's still Palm Beach County. So you have to be in the Palm Beach County in order to attend.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Now, sometimes it does happen where women will contact us and say, you know, I live in Tampa or North Florida. We had someone contact us, I think from Oregon recently too. And they'll, you know, and so they need support and we're going to help them as well. There's other organizations that we can connect them to that offer this stuff virtually that don't have that, you know, that limit, you know, as we do in terms of sort of serving just Palm Beach County. And then I also want to mention as well that in terms of addressing the mental health and the pregnancy loss and all of that, is that we can also provide trainings around these topics to anybody, to professionals or to groups, to the general public, because we believe that people need to know how to interact with women who are struggling and in the perinatal period. You know, sometimes it's uncomfortable. We see a woman who might be going through postpartum depression. We don't know what to say, so we sort of leave her alone, right? Or we know that our friend, you know, lost her baby and we don't know what to do, so we just kind of like don't do anything, right? So we provide these trainings for organizations and people to help them find that way, to help them find what to say or how to support. And we also include in there a lot of language that we know doesn't help women that are going through those experiences as well.
Awesome. I so appreciate the loss, because that is so, you know, doing this podcast, I've interviewed so many women who have lost children. And it's frustrating because until I started doing this podcast, didn't realize, you know, whether it's miscarriage or whether it's stillborn, it's kind of like an unspoken thing because it's just disappears.
Yes.
And like there's nothing to show or to. So it was very eye-opening to me, you know, hearing these women's stories. So knowing that is also an option. I wouldn't have even thought about that with you guys.
Yeah. And I think
Sabrina, the detriment that you're talking about as far as mental and emotional is so real. You know, my mom had stated before she had my brother is 10 years younger than me, 7 years younger than my brother, was kind of an oops baby. But in between that, my mom had 4 miscarriages. And I remember her, we were young, you know, so I remember it as a conversation at some point, and she was sad, but didn't really grasp it until like I was way older and we kind of talked about it. But it's like a real thing that really can make someone feel not good. Let's just
it's a trauma. It's a trauma. I mean, you're losing a part of your body. You're losing your baby. That's a trauma. I mean, that's an experience we wish on no one. And and I think that what happens a lot is that these women get the message, you know, they get these very negating, minimizing messages like, well, at least you know you can get pregnant, or you're still young, you can have another one, while not addressing the real issue, which is grief and loss and bereavement and trauma. And so, you know, we spend time talking about the unspeakable, because if we don't address that stuff, you know, that's just putting them at further risk of emotional, you know, not wellness, if you will. But yeah, we absolutely offer it. We actually, it's a relatively new service for us. We just added it in 2020. Yeah. And so, and it's part of because we see the need, you know, we are interacting with perinatal women all of the time, and they're telling us their stories. And we're like, we need to, you know, offer something for them too, where they feel supported and connected to us as well. Whether, you know, they get pregnant again or not, you know, we want to make sure that the needs are being met.
Yeah. And the scariness that goes with it as far as getting pregnant again.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that's a real thing that I've never had to feel or understand, and totally makes sense. So then for the 9 months, 9 full months, they had the constant anxiety flowing through their body morning
Right.
and night that any moment it could disappear. That would be horrifying,
Yeah.
if you're not treating yourself, mentally and emotionally, or talking it out with somebody.
Yeah, and we see that a lot with women who've had a loss and then they get pregnant again, is they spend so much of the pregnancy anxious and worried and fearful. And we want to help them because of course we want them to be well in the pregnancy, and we also have to honor that that's where they're at. That's a real legitimate thing that's happened to them. And so how do we address that? Is the support group the right setting? And sometimes the support group is the right fit. It's just the level of, of support that women need. And sometimes women need more intensive, so we can connect them to an individual counselor who specializes in that. And so I think that's, again, one of the great things about us being in a system of care and being such a resource in Palm Beach County, and knowing where those people exist to refer them to, for women kind of experiencing all of these perinatal issues, whether it's loss or whether it's just general mental health in the perinatal period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was, I don't remember who I was speaking to one of you, so I apologize for not knowing which one. And I was talking about how when you were speaking, it all of a sudden, because when I first met you guys and started talking to you guys about possibly being on the podcast, my thought process was I never visited a place like this. I've never even heard of a place like this until I was much older. Obviously before this moment meeting you guys, I've heard of it, but just during those years, wasn't even a thing that I knew existed. Like I knew food stamps existed. I knew WIC existed. But to go to a place to just like talk or communicate or, to sit and to speak, I didn't know. So, but what was interesting is while speaking, going back and forth, it jogged my memory to a place that I did visit one time. I still remember it vividly. And I received a breast pump, a really nice one. And I received the like baby Bible, that really big, what to do when you're expecting or something.
Yeah, like what to expect when you're, that's right.
Yeah, I got those two things. And I don't know where the place was, what it was. I don't know if they invited me back and I was too scared. I don't know if I lost the business card. I don't know what happened, but I have a feeling it was actually a place very similar to, the community that you are both speaking about. But you obviously have way more experience than I do. I have my one instance. In your experience, why do you think, or what do you see as far as why mothers hesitate to visit a community to like that? What is like the fear that's kind of based around it?
Well, some moms feel like I don't qualify for these services, so I'm not going to go because it is for low income or women that don't have any supports. And I actually have support. So we try to let everyone know that it's for everyone. Our services are for everyone. So just to get to what Jan was talking about, we try to fill in those gaps. So we created educational workshops called Small Steps Great Parents, where we offer classes. So you might not need an extensive services. You just might need to know how to work your breast pump or how to feed your baby or how to store your food. So we have classes for that, breastfeeding an infant. We offer childbirth classes. We offer nutrition classes. We offer prenatal yoga. So at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, we try to think of those things that might the community might need. So we try to fill in those gaps. Also, what might stop a mom from coming is the name itself, Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. So walking into a building that says Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, and you might not have told your family or your community that I'm expecting, or you might be in between, especially our teenagers, and then a family member or somebody see you come into that building and then start telling your business and creating that conflict within the community, you might just say, okay, I don't want to come. I don't want to hear about that. Grateful that the virtual space has been very great for us in getting those women to connect with us, because you're able to do it in the privacy of your home. And also, we want everyone to know that you should not have fear around getting help from us, because all of our services are confidential. So when you come in and you talk to one of our staff, you are talking to the person who is going to help you and keep your information confidential. So we've had situations where mom have called and said, my daughter has come and saw you and she's underage. Well, we can't share anything with you, even though your daughter's underage, because she is a client of our services. So we want to make sure that everyone understands to don't have fear around getting help. We are here for you. And even if you're not in Palm Beach County, reach out to those services that are similar to Palm Beach County that might be able to assist you.
Wow. It's so crazy that you just said that, because of that, again, that reminded me, when I went to Planned Parenthood, when I first found out I was pregnant, I was frantic. I looked it up in the yellow pages, like I said, and the only thing I could think of is abortion. I don't even know what the verbiage is for being pregnant and scared out of my mind. I don't know what that verbiage is. So looked up abortion, and I purposely did not go to the one near my house. I purposely went to one town over, because of exactly what you said. I totally forgot about that. And nervous, just so you don't know, like, it's just so unknown. I don't even know what I'm doing. Don't want anybody else to know before I know. And also still convinced that I wasn't pregnant. Still like, this can't be true. This cannot be happening to me. When I found out I was pregnant, I was at work and I had fallen asleep on the job. I worked for an optical. I had literally fallen asleep 3 days in a row while filing, just like passed out while laying on the drawer filing. So on my break, I went to Walmart. I stole a pregnancy test, not recommending, put it in my purse.
Please don't.
This is for real. I went into the stall. I got like the 3-pack. Again, not recommending. I'm not condoning this at all. Got a 3-pack, went into the stall, and I did 3 pregnancy tests in a row. I peed, held my pee, put it down, peed, held my pee, put it down, peed, held my pee. I did all 3. They were laying on the toilet paper rack. And the plus signs popped so quickly, like so fast. I thought I got broken ones. I'm like, these have to be broken. Because if you read the instructions, it says may take a couple minutes. And it literally popped within seconds. So I'm like, these are broke. Because I'm trying to convince myself. I come from a really religious background. My parents, I thought they were going to freak, and they actually did freak. And I didn't, I was like, this can't be happening. Like, this is not real. These are broken.
I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad you shared that. And I'm glad you recommended that women don't do that, because we are here at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies to help you. So outreach educators are out there in the community. And so part of what we do in outreach is we connect with different community agencies within Palm Beach County. So if you suspect that you're pregnant, you can even call one of our educators, and we will find a way to assist you in getting your test done, so that we can make sure that you are going somewhere, getting a test done, and then you decide what you want to do with your pregnancy. And we're here to help you at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies have a healthy baby. Yeah. So we can even connect you with different agencies within Palm Beach County that can help you determine if you're pregnant or not.
Yeah. So can a person, a female or a male, just walk in? Like, they just find their address, they just walk in? Or how do we introduce ourselves here?
Pre-COVID, yes, you could sort of do that. Of course, now, if someone comes to our agency, we're going to help them. We're going to assist them. And we would recommend calling because we do have so many different programs. We can kind of over the phone, we obviously have people, specialists that can do this, kind of talk with women and really figure out what's the right sort of like path for them. Is it a one-on-one appointment with one of our prenatal care coordinators? Have they already, been assessed? Sometimes there's like confusion, around like, oh, did I already speak with you? Didn't I? So I would recommend just calling us and saying, I'm pregnant and, I want to talk to somebody, and we'll figure out the right person to talk to. And if there, sometimes we get through our website women who will like sort of email, you can email us through the website. And that's usually the folks that Anitra is like kind of talking about, where like they might have a specific question, but they kind of want to seem anonymous, right? And so, again, I just want to reiterate that our services are confidential. So, if you call us, we're not going to like, call all of your family and disclose anything. We're going to work with you and you alone. So yeah, they can pop in. The other thing that we should mention too is that we do operate an infant pantry. So for women who are having difficulty with diapers, because diapers are wicked expensive, or baby formula or baby food, things like that, we do have a pantry that women can drop into. It's an emergency pantry, so they can only come once every 30 days. But that does operate, like I said, at Green Acres and Belglade and our mobile pantry. And that's, if women are coming to that to collect any kind of baby items, if they say anything to one of our workers that they need some extra assistance, we'll also get them connected to someone at our agency who can provide a further conversation, if you will.
Beautiful. And for those of you that are watching live, I just want to say we appreciate you being here. We appreciate the support. And if this is resonating with you, if you know somebody, if you are somebody, the website that Jan is talking about is above Anitra and Jan's head to be able to go to. And then also, I think on this slide, isn't there something on this slide? Oh, you guys are on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. There's more information on that. If somebody doesn't live in the Palm Beach County, because obviously my podcast is, worldwide. I have people, in Spain watching us right now. What could someone Google? What should they be Googling besides the word abortion? If they're trying to find, some place to get more help, to be able to speak to somebody if they can't speak to their mom and their dad.
Yeah, so they may, if they're in the United States. I'm not sure about Spain, although you have a resource for that. So in the United States, if someone Googles Healthy Start, there's probably a Healthy Start coalition near them. Sometimes in rural areas, it's a little bit more challenging. But generally, yes, they can Google Healthy Start, and the Healthy Start coalition in their community should pop up. They could Healthy Start and then their city, Healthy Start and then their county, something like that. If it's a mental health need and the person does not live here in Palm Beach County but wants to join something like a support group, there's an international organization called Postpartum Support International, PSI, and they offer online support groups for anyone, and that one is worldwide, and they have several different populations that they serve. So, they have some that are specific to certain cultures. They have some that are specific to women who are pregnant, after a loss, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's also, for women who have gone through specifically a loss, there is a national share chapter. It operates out of, I think it's Iowa or Kansas. I can't remember, somewhere in the Midwest. I should know exactly where, because like I mentioned to you, Sabrina, I'm from Illinois, but there's also a national share organization, and they have resources for women who've experienced a loss as well.
And I just want to add, for those women who are not in Palm Beach County, you can go to our calendar, and where you see workshops, while we're in the virtual space, you can attend any of our educational workshops if you're not a resident of Palm Beach County. So any of our childbirth classes, any of our breastfeeding, even our prenatal yoga, all of those classes, while we're virtual, they're open. Just register.
Wow.
Registration is required.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. What do you think is the biggest myth around receiving help when you're distressed?
Yeah, I think it's things like, it's my fault. My baby's going to be taken if I admit that I'm struggling. My partner's going to leave me. Or, in the postpartum period, a lot of women will say things like, I guess this is just motherhood. I guess I just wasn't prepared, and like, I have to just figure it out, even though maybe they are experiencing something that's deeper than, simply that transition into motherhood. Or as I mentioned earlier, the women who are having mental health struggles and they're pregnant and they think it's just postpartum, right? It's that we know that that's not true. It starts in pregnancy. But yeah, I think those are like sort of the biggest myths, is like, whatever's happening in my world, it's my fault. And I can't tell anybody because I'm scared somebody's going to take my baby away, or they're going to, kick me out of the house, or they're going to leave me, or, something along those lines. I don't know if Anitra has more to add to that, but like, those are typically the reasons I think that women, I think those are the biggest myths. Those are the, reason women won't reach out.
Yeah.
You covered it, Jan.
I would agree with all of those for sure. And that was a fear of mine, as far as admitting that I was not doing everything perfectly. It was just that I would get in trouble, or the police would come knocking on my door or something. And then topple that with the financial distress, so I'm mentally struggling, but then also financially struggling. It was a mess, So I so appreciate what your community does. And I appreciate both of you coming on and sharing this information so detailed. Like, is there anything that either one of you want to state before we close up? We still have a ton of people hanging out with us for an hour. Thank you so much for hanging with us and listening. And we certainly hope that you're jotting down the websites or the social media and sharing it with the people in your world that need it. Is there any closing thoughts, ladies?
This is, again, my mental health perspective, which is, if you know a woman who is pregnant or postpartum and is struggling, like, just call me, call us, just reach out. It's not her fault. It's not your fault if it's you that's experiencing this. And, we believe that, again, with support, you will get well. This is not having a mental health issue in the perinatal period is not the end. And we're here to support you until you get well.
Absolutely. And then
I just want to add as a final thought, like Jan said, I'm the community person. So if anyone is listening who want to get this information out to the community, we are more than willing to come out to your organization, to your faith base, to anywhere in the community to be able to spread awareness of healthy mothers, healthy babies. You can contact me at the website, or you can contact me, call the office, and they will give you my contact information. So more than willing to do that.
That was my follow-up question. You're reading my mind, Anitra. Good. Wow. That was awesome. Well, listen, I so appreciate both of you being here with me and sharing this information. For those of you that are still watching live, you're starting to click off. I appreciate you being here with us. If you're watching us on the replay, make sure you #replay so that we can see you, say hi, and so that we also know which platform you are watching us on. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We always appreciate a follow and a like. I hope that you have an amazing day. If you have a story to share of struggle to triumph, make sure you reach out to me and do something awesome today.